What happens if you take a desire for more family-friendly fun, a love for dragons, and the power of PlayStation? You might just get Spyro the Dragon, a series of well-regarded 3D platformers that helped bring in kids and their parents to Sony's revolutionary console. But have you ever asked yourself about the story of these games? Or wanted a video recapping it? Well, let's fix that. Here's the story of the original Spyro the Dragon trilogy. In the world of Spyro, there are Norks, fairies, and wizards, but most importantly, there are dragons. A camera crew of humans come to interview the dragons in their home, where they live peacefully. An elder dragon speaks of the tranquility in the dragon realms and the large amount of gems and treasure they have amassed. What do they plan to do with all that treasure? Are they gonna play baseball with it?
We can use the Chaos Emeralds as baseballs.
No, to Mario.
The crew asks about a conqueror by the name of Nasty Nork, or Gnasty Gunork, stating that he has acquired a spell that transforms gems into sentient beings that he plans to use to generate an army for an unknown cause. Another dragon steps in to assure that Nasty is locked away in another world and is too stupid and ugly to be of worry to them. Or in other words, is simple.
Simple.
No threat.
No threat!
And ugly.
Ugly?
The Nork somehow catches wind of these statements and quickly sends out a spell, encasing the dragons in statues and transforming the treasure into terrible monsters. A young purple dragon by the name of Spyro, who has spent the 2 minutes of the interview fooling around like a toddler at a family gathering, survives the wave of the spell and escapes from harm. Moments later, Spyro returns to the area and touches one of the dragon statues to break the spell upon the creature. Spyro is ready to take on Nasty Nork, but the elder dragon commands Spyro to save the others and reclaim the treasure. A dragonfly by the name of Sparks sets out with Spyro on his journey to save the treasure and the Dragon Kingdom. As they travel the artisan's homeland, they encounter many a man and beast, rescuing the dragon. The duo even encounter a gang of thieves who have stolen eggs from the dragons amidst the chaos.
He's a thief! You've got to track him down and get that egg! Run! Run! I'm getting a little winded.
With the help of a family of balloonists, Spyro and Sparks travel throughout the dragon world to save the creatures that keep peace, craft magic, make monsters, and weave dreams. Several of Nasty's generals try to stop them, such as the mysterious Toasty, the tenacious Dr. Shemp, the wild Blowhard, the robotic Metalhead, and the fearsome Shock. Some of Nasty's minions have even escaped to various areas that allow Spyro to fly, trying to keep the gems away from the talons of the dragons. Many a burnt sheep and sore side later, Spyro finally arrives in the homeworld of Nasty Nork.
Bring him on! I'm ready!
After infiltrating his stronghold, Spyro manages to pursue the commander and flame him in one solid go.
You're toast, Nork!
That dude just got burned. Spyro returns to the artisan's homeworld, welcomed and celebrated by the surviving dragons. The crew from before interviews the young purple dragon, where he mentions that there are dragons and treasure yet to save, but ensures that anything after that is possible.
What will you do next?
I'd say the sky's the limit.
Spyro manages to free all the dragons and reclaim the treasure, no matter how hard they seem to get to. Come on! Treetop sucks. A mighty sum of which Nasty had hoarded in a special loot area in his prison. Spyro, rocking a nice pair of shades, relishes in his new celebrity status in the Dragon Kingdom. Spyro admires the challenge in Nasty Nork despite his misdeeds, and anticipates something new or something more mundane to tackle next. That is, until an unknown force off screen starts to turn dragons back to stone.
Uh-oh. Here we go again!
Oh no! Derpity-doo! Some time has passed since the Dragon World was reclaimed by tyranny. Spyro and Sparks are making their rounds in the realm's Greenlands, noting that it had been raining for many days. Spyro gets the idea to go to Dragon Shores for some sun and relaxation, the place being a popular vacation spot to visit in all of the realms. Spyro and Sparks quickly enter the Dragon Portal to Dragon Shores, but something seems to be off.
Last one there's a Nork.
In a world away, a fawn, a cheetah, and a scientist mole are experimenting with the portal to gain access to the dragon realm. The cheetah, named Hunter, is worried about the potential danger that summoning a dragon might bring, but is told that such a fearsome creature is needed. Spyro and Sparks fly out of the portal and everyone realizes that something isn't quite right.
Hey, stop staring. Haven't you guys ever seen a dragon before?
You're a dragon?
You got a problem with that, pussycat?
Before introductions are made, a blast of magic destroys the portal. The villainous Ripto, with his minions Crush and Gulp, prepare to attack the group after learning they have summoned a dragon.
A dragon? You brought a dragon to Avalar? I hate dragons! Gah!
The fawn commands a fairy friend to attack Ripto, and the chaos results in the horned imp losing his powerful magic scepter.
Crush! Kill it! Kill it!
The trio retreat as the fawn explains to Spyro the gist of the situation and gives him a guidebook to the worlds of Avalar. It's James Cameron's second worst film. The citizens of Avatar: The Last Airbender leave to spy on Ripto, leaving Spyro to traverse the area and reach the castle in Summer Forest. During his stop in the gem mines, he comes across Zoe the fairy, who's here to help Spyro in his journey, and Moneybags the bear, who is not here to help Spyro in his journey.
Well, dragon or not, I'm afraid there is a small fee to open the bridge. It will cost you 100 of your gems to cross.
Don't get any ideas, Activision. Upon entering Summer Forest, Ripto and his crew take control of the castle. Spyro and Elora, the fawn, introduce each other. Elora asks about the inhabitants of Glimmer, the world that Spyro was just in. Spyro says that he was given something they called a talisman, much to Elora's amazement.
They gave you a talisman?
What? Is it special? I just stuck it in the guidebook you gave me.
Elora explains that the 14 talismans of Avalar contain magical properties so powerful that they can be used to defeat Ripto once and for all. Elora also explains that Spyro can only use the portals to return home and go to Dragon Shores once he has collected all of the talismans. Hunter, having just returned to Summer Forest, questions Spyro's task of finding them, but is scolded by Elora. So it's now Spyro's mission to use the guidebook to find the 14 talismans, in addition to any orbs he should find in Avalar. Spyro then makes his way through the worlds of Summer Forests, completing tasks and saving the citizens from trouble caused by Ripto's rule, and beyond. Spyro even gets the ability to swim underwater. Don't worry about Sparks though, he gets his own bubble. Spyro and Sparks make their way to Crush's dungeon deep in the castle of Summer Forest, when Elora explains on how Ripto and his monsters made it to Avalar. The professor was experimenting with super portal technology and just needed some data to input into the system. Hunter volunteers to enter a number, but Elora tells Hunter to stop immediately.
No, Hunter, don't!
What?
The portal suddenly activates, and Ripto, Crush, and Gulp are catapulted out. Ripto berates his monsters, but quickly discovers his new surroundings.
No dragons. Wonderful.
Ripto proclaims Korra as their new home and himself as the new king, but Elora and crew aren't willing to let the hot-tempered warlock stay. With the professor unable to shut the portal down, Elora tells the fairies to remove the orbs that were powering the portal and scatter them across Avalar. Ripto and company chase after the fairies, leaving Elora, Hunter, and the professor concerned about what to do next. Hunter mentions that Ripto said that he hated dragons, and the group figures that's what they need to get rid of him. The group decides to set up a second portal to the Dragon Realms the following week, connecting the story so far. Ah, in medias res, I see, Insomniac. Spyro and Sparks enter the castle's dungeon and do battle with Crush, where they succeed.
No, Crush!
With Crush seemingly dead, Ripto sends in Gulp to deal with Spyro. Gulp tries to enter the dungeon, but the roof starts to collapse, weakened by the battle with Crush. Ripto and Gulp escape, but with the glow of Spyro's guidebook, the castle of Summer Forest is reclaimed. Meanwhile, Moneybags is guarding the castle in Autumn Plains from Ripto and Gulp, where the two approach the greedy bear and get rid of him to seize the castle.
Boo.
Why you?
Spyro and company arrive and continue to collect the treasures in the mini-worlds of Avalar, where problems continue to harm its people. Spyro even learns the ability to climb ladders and similar surfaces from moneybags. As the power of the orbs helps the group travel deeper into the castle, Spyro acquires all of the talismans and travels to the castle's overlook to fight Gulp and defeat Ripto once and for all. Ripto, convinced of his conquest of all of Avalar, rewards Gulp with a fairy snack. That is, until Spyro swoops in and torches Ripto's behind. Spyro defeats Gulp with the help of Elora, where the final blow causes Ripto's throne to collapse into the abyss below. Elora tells Spyro that the castle in Autumn Plains is now free and that she wants to reward Spyro with some rest, as some fairies bring in a chair and an umbrella. Elora tells Spyro that they are working on the super portal to get him home, but Spyro is ready to rest for a bit, and plus he needs to work on his tan.
How else do you expect his scales to get that color?
Elora leaves, but Spyro interrupts his lounge time to follow her, worried that something may not be right. Elora, the professor, and Hunter are in the castle grounds of the Winter Tundra, where they are trying to get the super portal that caused all this trouble working again to send Spyro home. Ripto attacks the group and steals the power crystal the professor was using to power the portal in place of the orbs.
After I destroy you all with my new scepter, I'm going to rename this place Riptonia!
Spyro arrives where Elora tells the purple dragon that Ripto is still alive. Spyro continues to check in on the peoples of Avalar and collects enough orbs to break the seal.
Defeat of Ripto is only moments away, right? Right?
With the new scepter in hand, Ripto is ready to wreak havoc on the creatures of Avalar. Spyro comes in and challenges Ripto to a battle, where the fight begins. With the power of the orbs granting him special abilities, Spyro defeats Ripto and all of his magic tricks and reclaims Avalar from his rule. Spyro enters the courtyard a hero and is rewarded in a smooch, gems, and a trip to Dragon Shores. The citizens of Avalar bid the dragon farewell for now, leaving Spyro to finally enjoy his vacation in the wake of a destructed kingdom to rebuild.
Come on, Sparks. We've got a lot of vacation to catch up on.
At Dragon Shores, Spyro enjoys the attractions, plays some games, and chills at the sunny beaches after a long journey through new worlds. After ridding Avalar of all its troubles, the magic of the orbs gives him the ability to shoot gigantic fireballs for a short time, making do of any monsters or wizards that come his way.
Yeah, look at me go, son! Woo!
In the end, Crush and Gulp find new ventures to take, Moneybags gets eaten by a dinosaur, Spyro has a talk with some black sheep, Ripto spends the rest of his days being tortured by dragons, and Spyro, Sparks, and Hunter return to the Dragon Realms ready to take on a new adventure when one should pop into the scene. A new year comes to the Dragon Realm, and with it, a new generation of baby dragons, sleeping in their eggs waiting to hatch. The dragons, Spyro and Hunter, are all sleeping with the new eggs. A cloaked rabbit emerges from a hole in the ground along with several other creatures. The rabbit commands her army of Rhinox, which I'm convinced that it sounds like a form of antidepressant, to take the dragon eggs and go back down the holes. All but one egg remains. The rabbit snatches it up, trying her best not to wake the dragons. One of the dragons orders to capture the thief, but she escapes just in time. The young rabbit returns to a throne room in a far-off land to address the evil, ugly sorceress, saying that they have acquired all of the dragon eggs. The sorceress orders her to guard the tunnels and stop anybody who may emerge from the other side. The rabbit agrees to her orders, where Zoe the fairy, looking from outside the fortress, rushes back to the dragon world. Zoe explains to the dragons that the tunnels lead to the other side of the planet.
The other side of the world?
The Forgotten Worlds.
The dragons tell Spyro and Hunter to travel to these forgotten worlds to recover the eggs, as they are the only ones who can fit through the tunnels. The two young heroes agree, and they make their trek to the other side. As they explore the sunny springs, the rabbit arrives in a rainbow blast to taunt the dragon. The rabbit, who calls herself Bianca, tells Spyro to go back home.
If I find you here again, I am going to be very angry. And you won't like me when I'm angry.
Spyro later approaches Moneybags, who has found himself in a new business of charging Spyro to make his way through the Forgotten Worlds. Moneybags is seen guarding a caged kangaroo who has been causing some trouble for the sorceress. Spyro pays the bear to free her, as the kangaroo gives Moneybags his due.
Hard feelings, eh?
Right. After all, I'm just doing my job.
Sheila the kangaroo, surprised by the appearance of a dragon, explains that dragons used to live in this region and that all the magic had disappeared along with them when they mysteriously disappeared 1,000 years ago. With the kind kangaroo free, she leaves back to her Alps to look after her goat friends, as she encourages Spyro to visit any time, aiding him in his quest for the dragon eggs. Spyro and Hunter continue their survey of the spring until Bianca confronts them and launches an attack.
Ooh, look out, Hunter. It's the scary sorceress.
Spyro dodges the spell, but Hunter is caught in the blast. Spyro furiously flames Bianca as she escapes, while Hunter starts to sense something special in the young spellcaster.
Say, is it just me? Or is she kinda cute when she's angry?
The duo continue to help the locals and find lost dragon eggs. Their new friends band together to build a hot air balloon to take Spyro closer to the sorceress. The sorceress, meanwhile, is very displeased with Bianca's attempts to scare the dragon away and commands her to use a spell from her spellbook that will deal with the dragon. Bianca creates a terrifying creature after some difficulties of getting acquainted with the spell and its properties. Buzz ambushes Spyro in a nearby lake of fire, but with the help of Sheila, they both manage to defeat the gruesome toad. Spyro arrives in Midday Gardens, where Bianca swoops in to scare away the dragon. After some time, Spyro and Hunter catch Bianca practicing spells with her new book. One of the spells backfires and Bianca is devoured by a monster.
Son of Smaug!
Hunter and Spyro debate on whether or not to save her, but Hunter jumps into the fray anyway. Hunter manages to save Bianca and she reverses the spell.
Say the magic words! Bubbly bubbly boo!
Bianca thanks Hunter, but then tries to use her magic on Spyro to no avail. Bianca retreats as Hunter calls Spyro out on making her leave.
Hey, why'd you have to scare her off?
Spyro again finds Moneybags guarding another captured animal, a flying penguin that was caught firing rockets in a fireworks factory that she had seized. Spyro pays for the waterfowl's freedom, addressing Spyro as some sort of military commander.
Sergeant Bird, 90068. Awaiting orders, sir.
I think you'll have to find your commanding officer for that.
Spyro asks Sergeant Bird as to why he didn't just use his weaponry to escape. Bird claims that he wanted to conserve ammo, specifically to rip Moneybags a new one. Also, Sergeant Bird is a liar. Bird questions Spyro, thinking that all the dragons have been dead for 1,000 years, but Spyro jokingly entertains the bird.
Well, the rumors of our extinction were slightly exaggerated. We just wanted a little peace and quiet.
Sergeant Bird leaves for his base to regroup with his squad and clear the area of Rhinox. Spyro and friends manage to secure a whirligig contraption to move closer to the sorceress's lair. The sorceress, scolding Bianca for her effort to kill Spyro, transforms one of her soldiers into a fearsome beast.
Without magic, I'll die. And so will your ever so slim chance of becoming a sorceress.
Spike intercepts Spyro's flight and, along with Sergeant Bird and his useful ammunition, subdue the sharpshooting behemoth. Spyro enters Evening Lake, where Bianca confronts him again, stating that the sorceress has planned a trap for him and urges him to go home, assuring that she'll protect the remaining dragon eggs.
Just take Hunter and go back home before... I can't say it. Just go!
As he explores the underwater castle, Spyro finds Moneybags guarding a Yeti that apparently took 24 Rhinox to capture. Moneybags relishes in the value of the prized giant, but agrees to let him go if Spyro pays him. Once freed, Bentley, a well-spoken Yeti, thanks Spyro for his freedom and proceeds to club Moneybags for his imprisonment.
One more, perhaps?
At least.
Bentley quickly makes friends with Spyro and encourages him to visit the Yeti at his winter outpost. As they make their way through the worlds of the lake, Hunter falls for, or rather into, the sorceress's trap. As Hunter is in prison, Bianca comes and brings a piece of fruit for the cheetah to eat.
Thanks. Did you bring any chips?
Bianca says that she warned Hunter about the trap, but Hunter says that he needed to help Spyro rescue the eggs. Bianca explains that the Forgotten Realm needs the baby dragons to bring the magic back, or all the magic in the kingdom will be lost forever. She also mentions to Hunter that this was the dragon's original home and that they were banished by the sorceress 1,000 years ago, her not knowing that they were the cause of all the magic in the kingdom. Oops. Hunter theorizes that he could get the dragons to come back if Bianca frees him, but she cannot do so. Spyro and friends build a rocket using plans that they had stolen from the sorceress's fireworks factory, and he blasts off to the Midnight Mountains.
Hop aboard, Spyro, and boldly go where no dragon has gone before. Well, at least not in 1,000 years, at any rate.
The sorceress, having fed up with Spyro's heroics, vows to make a monster to end all monsters to kill all the dragons, including the newborns. Bianca thought that they were going to raise the dragons and release them into the land to restore magic, but the sorceress had lied, stating that she always wanted their wings for a spell to make her immortal.
Wait a second. A spell? What did you think I was going to do with all those dragons? Open a zoo?
Letting Bianca leave to be dealt with later, the sorceress uses one of her strongest Rhinox soldiers to create the monster she had in mind. The Winged Scorch attacks Spyro and Bentley, but with their teamwork and some additional firepower, they kill the giant gargoyle. Meanwhile, Bianca also frees Hunter, severing herself from the sorceress and her plan to capture all the dragons. As Spyro enters Midnight Mountain with a new friend on their side, Moneybags is seen trying to sell the professor's pupil as an action figure.
You've always had a weakness for helping silly little creatures, haven't you, Spyro? Oh, well, I suppose there couldn't be any harm in letting him out, could there?
Woohoo! Yippee! I'm free! Thanks, Spyro! Ooh, say, you ever see a bear dance?
If this thing is supposed to be an action figure, where's the off switch? After a game of laser dance, Agent 9 tells Spyro about how he has heard of the dragon's journey to stop the sorceress and vows to help him dispose of the witch and her Rhinox. After helping the local citizens and an oddly familiar adventurer, the baby dragon's magic unlocks the spell to the sorceress's battlefield, where Spyro and Agent 9 fight the old hag and save the kingdom from her oppression. Or so it seems. Spyro and Bentley return to the Dragon Worlds for a brief break before finding the rest of the dragon eggs. As Bentley kids around, Spyro asks the Yeti if he had seen Hunter at all after the sorceress's defeat. Bentley claims to not know of his whereabouts, but promises to tell Spyro if he comes across anything. Spyro meets the Professor, Agent 9, and Elora at the Mole's Island lab, where they talk science and catch up with one another. Elora flirtatiously asks Spyro when he is going to visit Avalar again, but the dragon expresses his concern about the eggs and Hunter's absence. Agent 9 seems to know something about Hunter, but the Professor and Elora try to play it coy.
Agent 9, isn't that a Rhinox over in those bushes? Rhinox! Ooh, let me at him! You want a piece of me, Rhinox boy? Eat laser!
Doesn't this guy have like a banana horde to get back to? Spyro then visits Sheila in her Alps, but the kangaroo lets it slip that Hunter snuck off with Bianca. Spyro visits the fireworks factory where Hunter and Bianca celebrate their independence and love for one another. Spyro and Sparks aren't impressed with this new development or this ship, but Elora asks Spyro to stay, take a break, and watch Sergeant Bird's fireworks show. As Spyro returns to Midnight Mountain, he comes across Moneybags with a fat pocket and a dragon egg in his hands, planning to sell it back in Avalar. Spyro's not so hot with that idea, so he pursues an escaping Moneybags to claim the dragon egg and get back the treasure he had given the bear. Moneybags enters a nearby portal for a new business opportunity.
I give up. I'm retiring to Spooky Swamp to become a haiku poet.
Spyro, Sparks, and company tie up all the loose ends, bring peace back to the kingdom, and seize almost all of the treasure in the dragon eggs. Spyro, Hunter, and Bianca encounter a secret mountain ridge where the sorceress had hoarded her treasure. Spyro collects the treasure from some of the thieves trying to claim it after the hag's defeat, but also comes to the revelation that the sorceress is still alive and has kept one last dragon egg in her clutches. Bianca lets Spyro use her flying saucer to defeat the old Barney reject once and for all. After the dogfight, Spyro saves the remaining dragon twins and returns home. The dragon newborns are reunited with their parents, and peace returns to the world of our purple hero. Okay, in all honesty, I really dig these 3 games. All 3 of them are fun, have the right amount of challenge, and feature characters and concepts that are admirable and likable. The games were recently remade under the Spyro Reignited trilogy, and while I haven't played all of it yet, I recommend that you do so.